welcome back to Weekly Chat. Although it is midweek now, it is the middle of the week, and I finally managed to get one of these videos up in the middle of the week, as you're supposed to, so that's cool. But yeah, I've enjoyed doing these really over the past almost couple of months now, really. I think this is the 8th one, maybe? So that would make it 2 months of doing this every week, which is great. I enjoy doing it. It's a fun little video to make. Bit of drama earlier with the that video I put up, and I had a couple of messages from people asking me if I was alright. Yes, I'm fine. It's over and done with now, and you know, I vented privately, and I've got it out of my system. Moved on. It's all good. So yeah, the topics for this week. Are you a completist? If not, what do you think about the crazy people who are? Well, I am a completist, to a certain degree. It depends on what it is. You know, Batman is one of those things I'm really, not completist, but I like to have a lot of it, if you know what I mean. I mean, I have like the Dark Knight Japan Steelbook, I have the Dark Knight Best Buy Steelbook, I think. I have the Dark Knight Rises Digibook Steelbook, Cowl Edition, you know, and I even want the other Dark Knight Rises Steelbook that came out in the UK. And I have, you know, lots of different editions of things, and so yeah, it depends. Star Wars is another one. I have like the Blu-ray box set, the complete saga. I have the steelbook of the original trilogies on Blu-ray. I have the limited edition DVDs. At one point I had the original DVDs, and I think my dad kind of gypped them off me and I never saw them again. What else was there? The VHS box sets. I have 4 versions of the Star Wars trilogy in VHS format. I have the Executor box set. I have the special edition gold box from back in 1997. I've since bought a sealed copy of the full screen silver special edition box set, and also the original tapes I watched the films on for the very first time. So yeah, that's cool. I like having stuff like that. But yeah, some things I'll be completist and get every edition of, whatever, if I even have the money. I definitely don't now, but but nothing. Yeah, but generally, you know, it depends. It really depends. And I've got something here to kind of display my point. And I seem to always bring these up, but I'm just on such a kick of these lately. It's the Massive Cinema series. Get a little thumbnail in now during the video. But yeah, these are just such amazing releases. I mean, we've got Spine number 1. And this is why I'm a completist about this, because they're numbered, and the cheeky bastards have numbered the collection. So we got Spine number 1 there, if it'll focus. If it doesn't, it says Spine number 1, which is Sunrise, and it's an amazing edition with, you know, a great booklet, you know, discs, and just an amazing set with amazing extras. And then again, you've got number 5 here, For All Mankind, with again great disc artwork, a couple of booklets as well, and 2 discs, and they're just fantastic releases, and they have steelbooks, and it's almost to 100 releases now, and so it's kind of a viable thing for me to complete that collection within a couple of years. So that's something I want to do. I have about 20, 25 possibly. So you know, it's almost like a fourth of the collection. But other things like the Criterion Collection, of course I'd love to have every Criterion Collection Blu-ray, but that's just an impossible goal, so I won't even start to you know, thinking about buying all the Criterions, because there's just so much. Sorry, I'm getting Facebook messages here, I'm trying to read them while I'm doing the video. Not a good thing to do. But yeah, completist I am to a certain degree. When people get really crazy about it and they buy like so much, there's a couple of people out there I know who do, which is cool. But for me, I could never do that, just because 1, money, and 2, space as well. But you know, I think it's cool to have a big collection, because you know, I kind of think, again, I've talked about this in previous weekly chats, I feel like collecting movies is like, you know, collecting stamps or collecting coins. You know, it's a collection. It's not just buying films for the sake of it. It's collecting a piece of film history, even if it's a new film or an old film. It's a part of film history, and you're collecting part of that. And you know, your film library represents, you know, the films that you love or the films that you think are important. And with the Massive Cinema series, it's definitely films that I think are important. Even though I love everyone I've watched so far, I would still own the whole collection if I could, even if there were films in there I really didn't like, because for me it still represents something important. And yeah, the Massive Cinema series, they always release films that are special in some way or form. So yeah. Number 2, how do you determine if a film is good or bad? Do you watch it with a critic's eye, or even if it has plot holes and flaws the size of the Grand Canyon, do you still enjoy it? Mix of both. You know, The Dark Knight Rises, I can look at and say it's not a perfect film, but it's in my top 10 favourites of all time. just because I love it because of the way it makes me feel, and just the emotion it invokes out of me, and how much I enjoy watching it and enjoying it. I'm trying to think of other examples, you know. The Empire Strikes Back, my favourite film of all time. I definitely wouldn't say it's the greatest film of all time. I'd probably put it in the top 10. I think it's that good, but I wouldn't call it the greatest film of all time. But and then there are films that are just bad that I might enjoy, you know. And again, I'm reviewing every film I watched this year on Letterboxd, so you can really check that out. Letterboxd.com/RazorwireRyan, and you can see my thoughts on films and films I don't like. And you know, I'll give kind of films, you know, I'll be light on them. You know, it's hard for me to think something's really terrible. It just depends. I go back and forth. I look at the plot, I look at the narrative, I look at you know, just the editing. I'll look at everything and criticize it, but at the end of the day, it depends on how much I enjoy it, you know, and that's the main thing for me, is how much I enjoy a film. Yeah, I'm trying to think of another example. I mean, again, Boyhood, that came out this year, is my 5th favourite film of all time, and I worked that out, and I was so really happy with that spot in my favourites list. And again, I'd probably put it in one of the best films I've ever seen, but it's so subjective, a film like that, and you can pick apart lots of little things about the acting, or you know, the pacing. There's so many things that you can definitely point out and say it's not a perfect film, but for me, I just respond to how I reacted to that film, how it hit me on an emotional level, and how much I enjoyed it. So yeah, it's a bit of both with that one, but I don't tend to criticize too much, but when I write reviews, I do kind of go maybe a little bit too criticky, I guess. Has the way you collect films, how you collect films, why you collect films changed over the years? The way, yes, I used to just go to Blockbuster or Woolworths, where my mum worked, and buy DVDs, and that was it. Sometimes I go into Cardiff and go to MVC, and remember MVC from Cardiff. I used to love that place. It was just like endless walls of movies. Loved it. Or HMV, I guess. But then, you know, when I started getting into YouTube, I got into ordering online, and that became a huge part of the way I collected films. How I collect films, yeah, I mean, Blu-rays. Blu-rays is really the reason I became a proper hardcore collector of films, and really wanted to own, you know, a lot of great ones, and just keep discovering new films and things like that. And why you collect films, yeah, definitely that's changed. Again, I'm reiterating myself at this point, but I collect films because I think they're important, and you know, sometimes I will, you know, sell a film if I really don't like it, but in this case of like massive cinema series, if it's like a really important film, I'll keep it because I feel like I own a part of film history and it's important. The Passion of Joan of Arc is a good example. I thought it was an amazing film, probably one of the best, you know, of all time, probably like a top 50 list maybe, but it's not one I enjoyed that much because it's so depressing and so just downbeat for the whole duration. But I'm going to keep it because it's a great film, and I might watch it again in the future. I might not. I might never watch it again, but just owning it and knowing that I own a piece of film that is so integral to the history of cinema is great, and I love that. So for me, I'm really focusing on old movies. I want to get all, you know, I'm really just kind of obsessed with 20s cinema at the minute. So for me, you know, I really just want to collect loads of old films on Blu-ray, because I love how they look when you just, you know, they just look, some of them can look fantastic when they're done really, really well. Particularly, again, Sunrise from the 20s. I forget what year this came out, 27. This looks amazing, and again, it just goes to show you that you know, what can be done with the medium of Blu-ray. And so for me, Blu-ray has really changed how I collect films and why I collect films, because I've discovered old films on Blu-ray and thought, this is the shit, you know. So yeah, definitely has changed over the years, and especially with the advent of my YouTube channel. So there you go, there's my thoughts on 3 topics. If you have any thoughts on them, leave them in the comments down below. Make your own weekly chat response if you want. Get involved. I'll leave the links to all the other weekly chats down below that I've seen, probably James and Ian at least. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.
He says he's really cool, but I think he's a tool. Even though I'm sure he's quite nice guy, really. He's a quite nice guy, really.